What if one man's vision could unite a divided world and change the fate of Jerusalem forever? Beware of spilling blood, of delighting in it, or making it a habit. For blood never rests. Saladin. In the latter half of the 12th century, a powerful Islamic resurgence reaches its peak under the command of Saladin Yusuf ibn Ayyub, a fearless and brilliant strategist. To Muslims, he is al-Nasser, the victorious, while Europeans know him simply as Saladin. His ambition is nothing less than uniting the Muslim world from the Euphrates to the Nile against the Crusader states. The First Crusade at the end of the 11th century. The Fatimid Caliphate is weakening and the Seljuk Empire is fracturing. In this moment of vulnerability, the First Crusade strikes the Levant. Western lords imposed European institutions on conquered lands, ruling with relative stability, thanks to Muslim disunity. But by the mid-12th century, the Ayyubid Dynasty rises in northern Syria. Under Imad Dinzingi, they recapture Edessa in 1144, prompting the Pope to call the Second Crusade. Though Zengi is assassinated in 1146, his son Nur ad-Din continues the struggle, expanding his father's realm and bringing prosperity. It is during Nur ad-Din's reign that Saladin begins his ascent. Early life. Born in Tikrit, in 1137 modern Iraq, Saladin grows up in Damascus. He studies philosophy, mathematics, poetry, astronomy, law, and above all, the Quran and theology. His family, skilled diplomats and administrators, guide his upbringing. His uncle Shirkuh and Nur ad-Din become his greatest influences, instilling values of chivalry, piety, justice, humility, generosity, mercy, and forgiveness. At 14 Saladin joined the military under Shirkuh's command. Quick to learn, he proves himself in battle, earning leadership roles and respect for his intellect and loyalty. By the 1160s, Nur ad-Din intervenes in Egypt to block Amalric, the first expansion from Jerusalem. Saladin accompanies Shirkuh in campaigns, becoming his deputy. In 1169, Amalric's forces are expelled, and Shirkuh is named vizier of the Fatimid Caliph. But Shirkuh dies suddenly, and the Caliph Oladid appoints Saladin, expecting him to be weak. Instead, Saladin consolidates power, placing relatives in key posts, and by 1171 dissolves the Fatimid Caliphate, founding the Ayyubid Dynasty. Building Ag Bete, Saladin strengthens Egypt as a Sunni stronghold. He reforms the economy, builds schools, and establishes a law college in Alexandria. He abolishes tolls for pilgrims crossing the Red Sea, compensating Mecca, which earns him popularity. He creates a new army loyal to him and rebuilds the navy. Campaigns follow, against Nubia, into Libya, and capturing Yemen, securing Red Sea trade routes and immense wealth. His growing independence strains relations with Nur ad-Din, but when Nur ad-Din dies, in 1174, Saladin seizes the chance to unite Egypt and Syria under his rule. Rising power, Saladin secures pilgrimage routes, earning the title Liberator of the Hajj Road. His arrival in Syria is welcomed by the people, though resisted by Zengid nobles. Through diplomacy and force, he becomes Sultan of Egypt and Syria. Meanwhile, King Amalric I dies in 1174, leaving Baldwin IV, a boy afflicted with leprosy, on the throne. Saladin consolidates power, defeating Crusader armies in 1179 and destroying a Templar fortress. In 1180, he and Baldwin agree to a truce, but Reynold of Chatillon repeatedly violates it, raiding caravans and even threatening Mecca. Saladin's fleet intercepts his forces, executing the raiders, earning Saladin praise as protector of holy sites. By 1183, Aleppo falls to Saladin, making him the most powerful Muslim ruler, supported by the Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad. Ordinary Muslims rejoice at newfound unity. The Crusader states, however, are alarmed. Baldwin, Cuarto Diez, leaving succession disputes. Guy of Lusignan becomes king, but cannot control his vassals. Reynold again attacks caravans in 1186, enraging Saladin, who vows to kill him personally. The Battle of Hattin in 1187 Saladin gathers 30,000 troops, divided into 3 wings. He besieges Tiberias, drawing the Crusaders out from their strong position. Against Raymond of Tripoli's advice, King Guy marches his 20,000 men across scorching heat, harassed by Muslim horse archers. Exhausted and thirsty, the Crusaders camp near Hattin, surrounded. Overnight, Muslim skirmishers set fires, draining their strength. The next day, Saladin blocks their path to water. Smoke and arrows break their formation. Raymond escapes with his knights, but the rest are trapped. The True Cross is captured, and King Guy's army collapses. Guy surrenders, while Reynold is executed by Saladin himself, fulfilling his oath. The Crusader defeat at Hattin is catastrophic. Their army cannot be replaced, leaving castles and cities defenseless. By 1188, only Tyre and Acre remain, spurring Europe to launch the Third Crusade. Yet Saladin's legacy is more than military triumphs. In 12 years, he united Mesopotamia, Syria, Egypt, Libya, Arabia, and Yemen. He balanced diplomacy with war, never closing the door to peace. Wealth and power did not corrupt him. Tireless and principled, he devoted his life to expelling invaders and upholding the values of Islam. Aftermath of Hattin, the summer of 1187 leaves the Crusader states in ruins. The once mighty army of Jerusalem is gone, its knights slain or captured. Saladin wastes no time. His banners sweep across the land. Fortresses that once stood proud now surrender without a fight. Cities open their gates, knowing resistance is hopeless. And then, the heart of Christendom, in the east, Jerusalem. In September, Saladin encircles the holy city. The defenders, led by Balian of Ibelin, brace for annihilation. But Saladin is not a man of cruelty. He remembers the massacre of 1099, when Crusaders slaughtered thousands. He will not repeat it. Shockwaves in Europe. The news strikes Europe like thunder. Church bells toll, sermons rage, and kings vow vengeance. Pope Gregory VIII calls for a new crusade. 3 monarchs answer. Frederick Barbarossa of the Holy Roman Empire, Philip II of France, and Richard I of England. Barbarossa never reaches the Holy Land, drowning in a river on the march. But Richard and Philip set sail, their fleets cutting across the Mediterranean. The Third Crusade has begun. Clash of Titans. In 1191, the Crusaders besiege Acre. The siege drags on for months, a brutal contest of endurance. When the city finally falls, Richard orders the execution of thousands of Muslim prisoners. The act shocks Saladin, but he does not falter. The Treaty of Jaffa is signed. Jerusalem remains under Muslim control. Christian pilgrims are guaranteed safe passage. Coastal cities stay in Crusader hands. It is not victory, nor defeat. It is balance, and it cements Saladin's reputation as both warrior and statesman. Saladin's final years' peace allows Saladin to return to governance. He builds schools, hospitals, and mosques. He funds scholars and poets. He gives generously to the poor. So generous, in fact, that when he dies in 1193, he leaves almost no personal wealth. His funeral in Damascus draws crowds of mourners. Chroniclers note that even his enemies admired him. Saladin's legacy is vast. To Muslims, he is the liberator of Jerusalem, the unifier of Islam, the model of justice and mercy. To Europeans, he is a worthy adversary, admired even by those he fought. His name echoes across centuries, a reminder that true greatness lies not only in conquest, but in character. Saladin's story is more than battles. It is about vision, diplomacy, and faith. In just 2 decades, he reshaped the Middle East, resisted the might of Europe, and left behind a dynasty that endured long after his death. His name, Saladin, remains etched in memory as one of the greatest leaders of the medieval age.